Hi, this is Sarah, the Stitchin Mommy, and it's Monday, March 16th, and I'm up here in my bedroom again because all of my family is home and they will be home for the foreseeable future. So all the schools have been switched to at-home learning, so we'll do, school chunks throughout the day with assignments kids have been given. My husband's working from home every single day, so this is a lot quieter up here. So here I am, still stitching. I think I'll have to switch to doing my travel stitching like a half hour a day during a certain particular time, since I won't be traveling a whole lot anymore. Such is life. So for the next at least 3 or 4 weeks until spring break is over, this is what life will look like, so get used to the view. I have a little bit of stitching here that you guys can see, so it should be good. I do have stitching to share, and this week was different, but not that unusual. The worst part was trying to keep my husband's piece secret. I'm working on his Simpsons piece, and if he's gonna be home all the time, it's really hard to work on that when he's not around, because it's like a bold colors, blacks and concentrated colors on white. So if you pop in and just glance at it, it's very easy to see what it is. So he'll guess what it is the second he lays eyes on it. It's not like some projects where you can just be stitching away and they don't even really pay attention to what you're doing. I'm pretty sure he'll figure it out if he sees it. So part of me is wondering if I should just tell him and then be able to work on it whenever I want to and not have to worry about him finding out. So we'll see. I didn't get as much done on that one as I would have liked because I was having a hard time finding time to work on it. So, but it is what it is. I have a few weird random things to share. I picked up some of these on Amazon this past week because I saw Jemima, I believe, Rocking Stitcher. She got some of these, and she's an in-hand stitcher similar to how I stitch, where she stitches with a roll in her hand. And thread peels, I think is what these are called, thread peels. You put them around a spool of sewing thread to keep your threads from unraveling. That's the idea anyways. However, cross stitchers have used these for like putting around the edge of the fabric on a Q-snap or a hoop to kind of control it, and I've seen people do that for a while. And then I recently saw Jemima do this, and I thought, hey, that's really cool. Where she kind of puts it, she wraps up the roll where on either side of where your hand is holding the fabric, and then you don't have to readjust your roll as often. And I tried it on, I think, my touchdown piece, and I liked it okay, but there was parts of it that I didn't like, and so I think it'll work on some fabrics, and other fabrics I won't care for it, so it might just depend project to project. But I have them, and I can play around with them to see if I like it. And then another thing I kept seeing people do was these project bags that I showed a little while ago that I got from the Fat Quarter shop. They're actually a mesh that's see-through, that's actual mesh, like you can stitch on it. So I have seen people starting to stitch on these, and so what I was thinking, I just got some of these other patterns from them as well, and this one I think could be fun to stitch on the gray one because it's very colorful. And then I like this gray watering can I can stitch on the pink one. And then this big blue one, I was thinking maybe I could stitch either a house or maybe one of these bands along the top of it or something. So I'm like, hey, that could be kind of fun. So stay tuned. Not that I need any more travel projects, but these could be future travel stitching, because that could be kind of fun to play with. My actual travel stitching is in my Topia bag. And speaking of Topia, part 4 came out yesterday, and so I stitched that a few weeks ago. So I will go ahead and pop in the video here of when I finished that. Hi, this is Monday, March 2nd, and I just filmed my Flosstube video, and I thought I should come in here and show you my part 4 of the Topia stitch along. This is coming along nicely, and this is what it looks like all together. It's by the Fat Quarter shop, and you can find all the called for linen and threads there if you want it. or you can choose your own colors. And it's a free stitch along with a $15 donation to Make-A-Wish. So, and the parts come out every 1st and every 15th. So the part 4 came out yesterday, and then part 3 came out yesterday. Part 4 won't come out until the 15th. So I thought I would show you my part 4 since I am now done with it, and then at some point I can start on part 5 even before part 4 comes out. So this is part 4 down here. It was this pinwheel and then a long green stem. So that was kind of fun to do. And I'm stitching mine in all fancy floss that was slightly cooler versions of what the pattern called for. So the placement of the colors is very similar to what she calls for, but I'm doing mine on ivory 28 count Lugana 1/1 full crosses, and with a variety of hand-dyes. So I'm really liking it. I like this one from part 3 with the gray and the pink, and this with the blue and the red together. I don't know, it's just really fun. So the 5 will actually have a part here and a part here, so I need to get cracking on that a little bit earlier than I would have for a smaller part. So can't underestimate the size of it. So this is a little bit closer to the color it is, and yeah, it's coming along really cute. So this, I think, will make a really pretty front of a project bag whenever it's finished. So that's probably what I'll do with it. And in the meantime, I hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Bye. So that's coming along really nicely, and I'm probably gonna get started on part 5 this week. I'm really close on my little Leslie Tier owl, so I may want to go ahead and finish this and then start part 5. So we'll have to wait and see. So here is where my Leslie Tier owl was before, and here it is now. Super cute. Almost done. The owl itself is finished except for backstitching. There will be a good amount of backstitching. I stitched these with a bunch of quarter stitches, which were not called for, but I wanted the variegation to kind of play differently than was called for. And I stitched like the eyes and the tummy and the leaves and the apple. I stitched them all going around the shape and kind of spiraling into the center so that the variegation would look a little bit more natural. So that's how I chose to do all of those. And obviously you can see the streaky directions that I chose to do that feather color. So I have a branch down here that I need to stitch still, and butterflies around the edges, and then everything will be backstitched with Caramel Brownie, which is the color I chose for the dots and the eyeballs, which is a dark brown, medium brown from Color and Cotton. And this is on probably 25 count creamy linen 3/2. So that's pretty fun. My son likes how that's coming out, so that's going to be for his teacher. And I think it's the August or September owl in the owl monthly owl series that Leslie Tier had. And then my tree, I did get caught up on this a couple days ago, so it's a little behind again, but here's my temperature tree. These are in my shop, along with a few other temperature patterns. And I have like 4 or 5 ideas for future temperature patterns, so now I have to decide which one I will release, because I only want to release a new one every year because I want to stitch along every year. And I noticed last year when I tried to do 2 at once, it was a little bit much. So I can only release 1 a year. So now I'm like, which one do I focus on to do first? So anyways, I have some trunk color on my needle here that's showing up. This is what my tree looked like last time, and here it is now. So I finished up the first several days in March there, and there's probably a few more over here that could be stitched now. This is on 28 count light blue even weave from Hobby Lobby 1/1, and I'm doing my trunk with the Classic Colorworks Cocoa Bean, which is one of the called for colors. There's a couple DMC alternatives as well. And I think that's turning out really nice. We've had a lot of rainy days this past week or so. So that's making it cool off a lot, which is not really all that normal for March in Southern California. So it's, it was warmer in February. So it's kind of interesting. But it makes for a colorful tree, so I'm good with that. Okay, so, oh yes, I needed to show my daughter's piece too. She is working on Trellis and Time School Day Sampler for her teacher, and it is turning out to be mostly me with little bits of her, because she doesn't have the attention span to do very much on this at a time, so, which is okay. She's only 7. So she just did another couple stitches this morning on the glue bottle. She really wants to do the little bird. This is her favorite. She's super antsy. Since I've already done these the numbers, the bird is pretty easily counted to from there. So I told her if she finishes the glue bottle, this blue is also the blue in the bird, so she can do the top. And then she does this blue, and while it's still on her needle, she can start the bird. So that motivated her. She'll do the pencil later. She still wants to do the pencil, but she really wants to do the bird. So I might as well let her enjoy that. So I had her do this morning, and then maybe later, now that she's home a lot more often, we can hopefully get some more done on this. So I'll have her do that in the next little bit here. And this is 18 count beige Ada. That's a lot more true. It's a nice warm beigey color. So I will work on this at some point too, but I think I really want to finish that owl since it's so close to being done, and then I'll work on part 5 of Topia, and then I'll come back to this to get this farther along. Teacher Appreciation Week is the first week in May, so assuming things are back to normal by then, that's the goal of getting all of these teacher things done. Okay, so my regular stitching this week, I was planning to work on Winter Queen right away, then do the Mayflower one and the Simpsons one and the Touchdown one. I didn't end up getting to Winter Queen until the very end because I never really had a good time at the beginning of the week to get all my beads out, because I feel like I need a good chunk of uninterrupted time to work on beading, because I have one tacky bob, but I have all my Stargazer beads in it right now, and I just didn't want to have to take them all off and put them all back on with different projects, so I could probably use more maybe, but for now I just had 4 packages of beads open on my side table, and I don't want to open them and just leave them there if I'm going to be coming and going, which I do sometimes with my stitching with having a family. And so I needed a time where I had a good chunk of time to just know that they were safe and wouldn't get knocked over or anything. So that didn't happen until Sunday morning. Since we didn't go to church, we had church at home, listened to our pastor had a sermon online, so we had home church as well. And yeah, but then I got a little extra stitching on Sunday, so that was good. But anyways, I'll show you this Winter Queen. I did get my goal. I think I got 300 stitches done on this. Stitches and beads. So this is what that looked like last time. And here she is now. So I was able to complete all the beading in her crown, and then moved on to the beads in her hair and her earring. So her head is completely finished now. And then I had some time and more to meet in my goal. So there was a hole right there. So I picked the color that went there, and then did that all throughout the rest of her skin area. This is her shoulder here and her shoulder here, and then she's got 2 hands coming up holding this blanket or a cloak or whatever. So that's all her skin area. She doesn't have any more skin. So that color is completed. And all of these hair colors are completed too, because they're not anywhere else in the design, so that's kind of fun. There is more purple on her shoulders. So next time I bring this out, which I'm not sure when that will be, if it'll be this year or next, because I got to a good stopping point. So we'll see. I'll probably bring out my other mirrors before I'll pull her out again. But I'll probably get the skin finished next time and start working on her shoulders and cloak and all, you know, all the good stuff. So there's that. She's on 32 count plain white linen by MCG Textiles that I got at Joann's or someplace. So that's fun. I'm happy about that. Got her head done, which was my goal. I don't know if it's an official goal in my 2020 goals that were very loose and casual, but when I got it out, that's the goal I had wanted before I moved on to something else. And then I worked on the Mayflower Rose ornament by Heart's Ease Exemplar Works. It looks like this, and it has a 1/1 section in the middle, and then the outside is 2/2 with some satin stitches and rhodes. The center of these is rhodes. I think that's what that's called. Anyways, and I'm doing mine with a fancy floss conversion. They call for Classic Colorworks silk or needlepoint ink silk, and I just chose fancy floss that I had, mostly color and cotton, and I have one Gentle Art and one Weeks. So here's what mine looked like last time. And here it is now. I'm stitching this on some tea-dyed, let's see, I want to see if I get some white showing, if the color will be better. It's a nice warm color. Same with that beige, it's hard to show. But anyways, I finished the boat, the whole ship, because I really wanted to do that, and I wanted to see how this, the sails really blend in with the fabric, but it will be outlined in this, can't get too close or it won't focus. It'll be surrounded by blue. So I think once the blue is in there, they'll show up a lot better. So I did one little section of blue or a couple little sections of blue, and then decided, okay, it's fine. It's time to be done. How much did I do on this one? I did a lot. I was only supposed to do 250 for the challenge, and I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 503. So completely like the amount of stitches for 2 challenges. But it only fit for 1, and I didn't take a picture in the middle, so it's fine. I just got a lot of stitching done. So the boat is completely finished. Now, next time I bring this out, which I'm not sure when exactly that will be, but I want to finish it this year so it'll come back out again. And I'll finish the 1/1 blue, and then everything else is 2/2 or specialty. So that'll be fun. And I decided when I had this on my needle for this cloud, these flowers, the white flowers, are satin stitches. And I started to do one, and I thought, no, I need to do those after I do the other 2/2 crosses, because I want them to lay nicely over on the top, on the surface. Like, so I'll do that kind of like back stitching, where I'll do the specialty stitches at the end, because I want them to lay on top of the other cross stitches. So once I finish the 1/1 that's surrounding the boat, everything else, the rest of the sky and the water, is all 2/2, as well as the flowers. So I got a little bit of color in the flags and things too. So that satisfied my need for color. So that one turned out really fun, and I'm happy about that. And then I worked on my son's touchdown piece. And I got this one, got a decent amount of work on too. I got 275 stitches on him. This is what that looked like last time. And here it is now. So this one, I was able to get all of the white finished. So I finished his pant leg. This is the shoelaces from this foot that's bending down. Then I went down here, and this is the sock and the shoelaces for this foot that's coming out of the frame, like his hand is and head went out of the frame, his foot's coming out of the frame. This right here and is his leg, his sock and shoelaces that's sticking out from this angle. So that's what that looks like. It's a little odd right now, but that's what that is. So, and then I went back and had just a few stitches left of the challenge. So I went back and there's a B5200 outline along some of these edges. It's a lighter shade of white and you can really barely tell, but there were like 5 colors in his pants because his pants are supposed to be yellow. And you can't really convert white to a whole bunch of colors. So I actually took 2 symbols to be blanc and 1 symbol was B5200, and then I have 2 shades of gray for the shadows. And those 2 shades of gray will also be in his shirt to fill in these holes, and their socks and laces also have a little bit of that gray too. Then I can work on the gray in his pants and the socks and shoes and skin and stripes and whatnot that are all happening down here. So happy with that. Made some good progress, and it's fun that those colors are finished. No more white. Really light gray, but no more white. I think 762 is the gray that I picked, which is very, very pale, but it is technically gray. And then the little bit that I got done on my husband's Simpsons piece, I had really wanted to get more done on this. This was for a black and red challenge, so I wanted to get some black and some red, but I really did not have enough time to get to both things. So I did 1 length of black, and I was actually not quite done with that length, and then it was 9:00 p.m., which is when the challenge ends, because that's midnight Eastern time for the group. So I took a picture and finished out my string after I posted my progress. So I only got 1 point for what I finished on this because I got like 150 stitches. And in order to get the medium tier, I needed to get 200 half stitches because these are half stitches. So I got only got for the 50 stitch point for the 50 stitch level, which is only worth 1 point. So I was hoping to get 500, which would qualify for the 250 stitch level, but that was not in the cards for this week. So I really am tempted just to tell him I'm working on this so I don't have to hide it anymore, because that's the worst part of working on this. I'm starting to like it now, which is really big, because for a long time I didn't want to work on this. I think once Marge's hair is done, and now I'm getting some outlining, I'm like, oh, this is fun. It's starting to come together. So I really would like to work on this more, so I may just go ahead and tell him I'm doing. Anyways, this is what it looked like last time. And here it is now. And so I just grabbed some black. There was a little bit of black, I think, on one of the sides of her hair. There was a little bit of black, and I think it was this side. And then I came down and I went around her hand and came back, did her mouth and necklace area, and then came back down to do her arm, and then came back down. This is the top of Lisa's hair and her eyes and nose, and it looks kind of creepy right now, but that's that. So I was hoping to get some red on her necklace, and then down here is Lisa's dress. I wasn't quite ready to get to that point. I would have needed another string of black, I think, to be confident to know where that red should go, but it is what it is. And I still got some progress, and I like how the outline is coming together, so that's fun. You can definitely see more of the picture. So that won't officially come out again until next month, so maybe I'll wait and see what the climate in society looks like in a month, and if we're all still home, then I might just tell him so I don't have to worry about it. But I might wait and make that decision next week or next month. So going forward, I looked at the challenges for the Enchanted Stitching Challenge, and we're in the middle of Pirates of the Caribbean this month, and the challenges for this week were kind of odd in that they didn't necessarily immediately pop to mind my projects. My style is not necessarily piratey, or I don't know. So my first instinct was I just won't do the challenges this week. I'll be good. I'll just pick what I want to work on and it'll be fine. And then later, as I was getting ready for bed, my mind started being like, oh, well, I could do this. I could do this. With the things that I had wanted to work on this week. Anyways, I'm like, oh, that could work for that. I could make that work. So then I figured out, I went back and double checked what all the prompts were and strung some stories to figure out how they would all work. So they're all going to be Pattern Keeper projects, which I haven't worked on anything in Pattern Keeper in at least a week, maybe a week and a half, because all the projects this week were not in Pattern Keeper. So this will be fun. I've missed Pattern Keeper. So the first one I wanted to get to again was my Anne of Green Gables. And I decided to work on this for a prompt that you need something that could burn. So behind them, obviously they or their clothes or whatever, but behind them is the house, Anne of Green Gables, and the house could burn. So this is my starting point on this. This is on 40 count silk gauze, and I liked how it looked with my Kindle in the background. This is where I'm at. These are 1/1 half stitches on 40 count, and I made a lot of progress last time when I did this for a Feel the Love challenge in Full Coverage Fanatics. This is coming out for Canada as well in Full Coverage Fanatics this month in our Around the World challenge. So definitely wanted to get at least 1 or 2 sessions in on this. So I need 500 half stitches to make the 250 stitch goal in Enchanted stitching. So that should give me some good progress to see. I'm not sure where I'll go, but so far I'm color completing. Since it's so small, it's 105 by 105, and I have access to every part of the chart now. So when I pick a color, I do it everywhere and then finish it up completely. So this is really fun. I am enjoying this. This is small enough. It fits in a normal size sandwich baggie. So there's my really fancy project bag, and I actually keep it in the front pocket of my folder. That's how small it is. The other one I wanted to do is my Quick Stitch Iris for my aunt, because that should come out soon. And so this one is on 25 count 1/1 full crosses. And here I am with that one now. And my goal, since I've discovered Pattern Keeper and I prefer cross country again, is to get rid of these parked threads. So we'll see how many of those I can get rid of. I only need 250 stitches on this one because they're full crosses. So what about the other ones? What's that one? No, those are full too. So we'll see. I don't know which one I want to do last to maybe do extra, but I may do extra on all of them because with Pattern Keeper, it makes it really easy to go over your number. So I may just, work 1 or 2 days on each of these and just keep going to the end of the day, even if I get more than I need for my challenge. So that's the starting point on this one. And I'm really excited to work on all of these this week, so that'll be fun. It's been a little while since I worked on these types of things. The next one is Knitting Woman, which is for my mom. So I gotta bring her out once, at least once this month. So probably just once. And it wasn't that long since I worked on her in February, but this is where she's at now. And she has all of her parked threads put in. I did that last time. Super happy with that. So now I'm gonna come up and start filling in this area in her face and maybe even her neck, but I wanna get some of these holes filled in. And I probably will work the whole string in, unless it's way down here or something. I won't necessarily color complete, but I'll thread complete. That's kind of my plan on this one. Focusing in on that area by their faces to get that filled in. And I will need 500 stitches on this one, since they're half stitches. This is 22 count, 2/1 half stitches. And the coverage is very sparse, but the fabric was the perfect size, so I just went for it. I wouldn't do it again, and I wouldn't recommend it, especially if you have coverage issues. But it looks, you know, it looks antique-y, I guess. So it is what it is, and I'm sticking with it, moving forward. The last one I want to do is my owl family, which was my New Year, New Start. And it's been a little while since I worked on this. I only worked on it the one time at the beginning of the year. So I really had a hankering to get this out again. Oh, and my Knitting Woman one, just to be funny, to share my prompts. I don't know if I shared my other prompt too. Okay, so the Knitting Woman one, we needed to find a projectile to put in the cannons, because all the cannonballs got tossed overboard, and I said I'd put knitting needles in my cannon. They'd be a pretty nasty projectile. Poke you in the eye. And then the other one, my Iris, you had to, what would legend say about you of a method that you came up with to get off the island? And I would say I would make, you know, a homemade raft and decorate it with flowers that I found on the island, and it would be the prettiest raft that you ever saw. Prettiest survival raft. That would be my legend to get off the island. And then the owl one, it was a weird prompt. I'm not sure how these fit together, but you had to pick either something that lays eggs or something that goes along with the Yo-Ho-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me song. So I was like, well, owls lay eggs. So there we go. Let's work on my owl some more. A Crazy Wonderful Owl Family by Anya Kai. And this is on Picture This Plus 28 count Glacier Lugana. And it's a bluey green color. And I have that much done. That was close to 250 stitches in the Daddy's wing. So that's where I'm starting from. And I'll get at least another 250 stitches on that. So far this is just the one color, and this is the first time I used Pattern Keeper for stitching. So I'm not sure where I'll go with that. So I'm right here. So I'll probably finish out his wing at least, and I'm not sure if I want to come up here and do more of him, or if I want to come down and work on this little guy. So I'm not sure. Guess we'll see what I feel like when I get into it. And I think that's everything that I have to share with you. Life is looking different these days, so we'll see if I get more or less stitching time. But at least with social distancing, you can still stitch. There's always a bright side. So anyways, I'm glad I was able to come do this. Helps make life feel a little bit more normal, and I'll go get my family some lunch and get this uploaded, and I hope to see you again next week. In the meantime, happy stitching. Bye.